Alright, my computer just shut off. I don't know why. I see the videos back below this level. I had the video calls loaded. But I want to see, but it looks like rejection right now. Let's see if I can change it. Heck no. I'm gonna get 1 days on the video. Let's see. I'm gonna go 2.8 average. I'm gonna go ahead and get filled on the video. I like this. I'm filled on the video. And the video put. And I see defending right at VWAP, so a wick off the 21. Tesla went up. I'm cutting my losses short, very short.
24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com, Bloomberg Television, and the Bloomberg Business app. This is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
I'm looking at the video. I really just need the video to go.
Business Flash. It didn't take much,
But let's see.
Stocks carrying some of the earlier gains with a much anticipated Supreme Court decision on tariffs. It did not happen. So
I see what SPY's doing. I see what QQQ is doing.
Some of the earlier gains. A negative ruling would have offered a boost for equities and also a key earnings over.
Wow, look at this buy off this level.
9 of the 11 major industry groups in the
I'm gonna get out
S&P
5%.
still higher. Utilities.
Last I seen was 7.
Group, and that's because
Last I seen was 7.
is signing a series of electricity deals, and as such, Vistra is one of those that's the best performing individual stock in the S&P 500 right now. Vistra is up close to 14.
I'm just saying. I'm looking at what market is doing. So
Revolution Medicines up close to 5%. Merck in talks to acquire them. That's according to the FT. S&P 500 up 26 points. The Dow up 104. The Nasdaq 100 up 131. The 2-year yield up to 351 right now. The 10 is.
I really just wanted the video to go, but I see some rejection now.
Skydance wants everybody to
I could get back in.
MTV again. Apparently, they're looking to revive MTV, and they're also looking for the music industry help. So something's in the work.
Just replay Duran Duran videos.
Yeah. Do you remember what was the? Everybody out there should know this.
Yes.
The first MTV video.
Video killed the radio star.
What was the name of the group?
Googles.
The Buggles.
Buggles, that's
excellent. Scarlett. 10 points. We check the market's view all day long, right here on Bloomberg Radio. I'm John Tucker. It's your Bloomberg Business Flash. Scarlett and Paul.
All right, John Tucker.
It's stuck in my head now.
I know, exactly.
I love that song.
Yeah, I remember when the first day of that thing, that got just big in the next 10 years.
Yep.
Time passed it by. All right, John Tucker, thanks so much. We've got Scarlett Fu, Paul Sweeney live here in our Bloomberg Interactive Broker studio. We are streaming live.
It looks like the video wants to go lower.
There. Lots of economic
But
data
how market
today.
is moving.
Market's a little bit higher here, but let's see how the pros are interpreting it. Emily Rowland,
SMH is up $6.
strategist at Manulife, John Hancock Investments up there in Boston. Emily, we got some jobs data today. We got some UMich sentiment data today.
Wow, look at this
Market
support.
seems to be kind of taking it in stride. Does this change in any way kind of how you're viewing the economy or how some risk assets may perform in 2026?
No, I mean, the job report was a bit of a nothing burger. It was a mixed report. You know, of course, everybody was focused on the unemployment rate. That did come down a touch. I would point out that lower unemployment rate could have been flattered by the participation rate falling a little bit. So when there's fewer people looking for work, that can actually bring that calculation down. So we want to think about that. But regardless, the market likes the unemployment right? But there were some negatives. We had negative revisions to the last couple of months to the tune of 76,000. That's not great. And the breadth continued to disappoint. So hospitality and leisure, and most importantly, healthcare, continuing to drive the bulk of the gains. If you look at 2025 broadly speaking, we would have had negative jobs growth if it weren't for the healthcare sector. So I would call it like an okay jobs report. Certainly does take a cut in January here off the page.
Yeah, and in fact, this jobs report kind of backs up that whole idea that we have this low hire, low fire labor market.
Yeah.
So if it removes the possibility of a January cut, we're looking at traders still keeping their outlook for 2 cuts this year.
Spot just going up.
Set up expectations, positioning, and how people are thinking about the release of inflation data next week.
Yeah, so inflation data we're hearing may still be sort of distorted given the government shutdown. So I still think it's going to be taken with a little bit of a grain of salt here. But to your point, bond market's expecting 1 cut in June and another one in September. We still think that bonds offer a lot of value here above 4%. Frankly, the bond market is really not budging based on disinflation data that we're seeing. We saw it this morning in wage growth sort of holding steady. There was a fear that wage growth was going to pick up. We're also seeing some disinflation.
It seems like Apple want to go back down now.
Housing or shelter side of the CPI equation, so we'll be watching that really.
And I see a
Look at
pattern.
some of the real-time measures of housing, they're showing a lot more slowing than the official BLS data is telling us. So things like Zillow and Apartment List are telling us that the shelter component's closer to flat on a year-over-year basis. We don't really think that bonds are picking up on some of that. So we're leaning into fixed income here on a high-quality basis. Given those elevated yields, we do expect yields to come down over the course of the year.
So, Emily, as we think about 2025 and looking ahead to 26, boy, 25 was a great year in equities, very strong year in fixed income. How are you and your teams there kind of thinking about 26 in terms of where the opportunities are?
Yeah, I do want to get Apple.
Yeah, so we're constructive on stocks.
I'm gonna get fed on Apple.
There is a number of catalysts in place. You've got the one big
Apple
beautiful
puts.
bill, which could help potentially bring the effective corporate tax rate down to that immediate of CapEx. We think it's modestly accretive to the consumer as well. Oil prices come down. That's sort of another positive. Weaker dollar, which is kind of the gift that keeps on giving into 2026. 40% of the revenues of S&P 500 companies are derived from overseas, so the weaker dollar helps on that front as well. The challenge, of course, though, is the starting point at 22 times forward earnings. It's going to be tough to get any more multiple expansion, so earnings really does need to be the key driver. And then on the fixed income side, like I mentioned, I do think bonds are mispriced here, so I think bonds can do some more heavy lifting in portfolios with incomes in the 4 to 5% range on high quality bonds.
When it comes to equities, we get earnings next week.
I think if we can see like some type of
come out, and of course,
selling
big banks will
on
start.
SPY,
What do you think we'll actually learn from
we can go
these
lower.
banks, especially given that we can't really rely on a lot of the data? As you mentioned, the inflation data next week might still be kind of messy.
Yeah, analysts are expecting high single-digit earnings growth, so the bar is not crazy high coming into this quarter. I'm just excited to talk about earnings and not geopolitical developments, Scarlett. I don't know about you guys, but that's going to be really refreshing for us. And, as long as the economy and the labor market continue to hold in, we think cyclical areas of the market like financials can do just fine. They're also benefiting from the wealth accumulation that we've seen. So in a strange way, the market has been in the driver's seat of the economy. So we've seen this incredible consumer net worth being built up. It's in stocks, it's in real estate, and all of that sort of wealth accumulation and appreciation is impacted or helped the financial sector. So the AI trade, which has buoyed investors,
I'm down like 8% right now.
Right back into the cyclical side of the U.S. economy, benefiting
I'm gonna say,
banks.
so at
Banks are going to come through
10%.
with some positive
Bro, what?
developments, given the strength of the consumer, given the strength of the labor market, and given the strength of the stock market.
I saw that at 12%, 12% sell.
As strong as the equity performance was in the U.S.
Market is going higher.
Much of the rest of the world, it was even better than that. We're hearing even people over the last 12 months talk about high yield.
Wow.
Emerging market debt as well here. What do you think about the global allocation?
Yeah, Paul, a lot of it does come down to the in 2025, and that can be hugely accretive to international equities as you're a U.S. unhedged investor. You know, it was pretty remarkable to watch the momentum that got built in overseas markets. I mean, you had things like the Kospi and Spain, you know, up 80, 100% last year, really on technicals and momentum. It's just, we're living in this world of momentum. Where you sort of trade first and ask questions later. When you look at the fundamental backdrop for non-U.S. equities, it's like okay. You know, earnings were about 3% last year. I don't know that that justifies a 30+% return in Europe.
I'm gonna wait a bit. I'm gonna wait possibly for
economic data have been, I would say,
a retest, a retest on SPY.
If you look at things like PMIs overseas, yet those markets are booming. It is tough to stop this momentum trade train, I guess, internationally right now. So we do have some exposure there. If the dollar weakens, we think it can help non-U.S. equities.
Bro, this buy off Amazon is crazy, and I've seen Amazon going lower.
All right, Emily, thank you so much for joining us, and have a great weekend to you. Emily Rowland, Co-Chief Investment Strategist for Manulife John Hancock in Boston. Let's go back to the tech sector. We can't stray too far from it ever when we talk about the market. And take a look at some of the Mag 7 names. Alphabet this week has moved ahead of Apple in terms of market cap, and Meta signing this big power generation deal with this company called Vistra, which has had a really volatile week. Let's bring in Mandeep Singh right now. Mandeep is our global tech research head at Bloomberg Intelligence. And Mandeep, just put into context for us this multi-gigawatt nuclear deal that Meta has signed for its AI data centers. How should we think about this?
Yeah, I mean, the best way to frame it is how these companies are spending their capex. And we know roughly, 1 gigawatt of AI data center capacity costs about $50 billion.
Let's see. Let's see how this candle close.
Source of energy and land, etc. But that's a rough ballpark. So when you think about 6.6 gigawatt, and we already know OpenAI has committed to, about 26 gigawatts. So clearly these companies have big ambitions, and what it suggests is a company like Meta.
I'm gonna get Phil on the video. I got the video calls.
CapEx this year in 2026 may stay on that path for at least the next 3 to 4 years because they believe they have a lot of applications. So when it comes to their own consumption of AI data centers, and they seem to be confident about their own model, which has so far trailed the likes of OpenAI, Anthropic, and Gemini in terms of capabilities. But it sounds like they want to make sure they have the capacity to deploy AI, and that's where nuclear is an interesting choice because a lot of the other hyperscalers have gone for natural gas turbines, but we know there's a big backlog with someone like GE Vernova for their natural gas turbines. So from that perspective, nuclear is an interesting choice, as an alternate.
What are the big tech companies, these big AI companies, saying about their confidence in the reliability of power in the next 5, 10, 20 years? Because a lot of folks are saying that
See some sales.
could be the gating issue for
See some buys on the video.
Evolution of AI.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was at CES where Jensen highlighted, the reason why companies would upgrade quickly to the latest Rubin architecture is because they give, Rubin will give them more tokens per unit of power, which is really a way to emphasize the efficiency of how you utilize your available power. And so from that perspective, everyone sees
Apple going to SPY QQQ.
Adding new power, and they want to maximize, the usage and utilization of whatever they have right now.
I'm gonna hold this one out.
Look, you could argue, there are some other sources which may have shorter lead times, like solar or battery packs. But in this case, given the size of power that these companies need for running, we're talking about 1 gigawatt data center. It's very hard to think about too many sources of energy that will give you that sort of power, and that's where the lead times are so long.
All right, Mandeep, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it as always. Mandeep Singh, Senior Tech Industry Analyst for Bloomberg Intelligence. Again, kind of a cool deal here. Meta buying a bunch of electricity capacity to fuel its data centers in the future. Probably going to see more of these type of big users of energy. S&P up 37 points, the Dow up 175, the Nasdaq up 155. That's 0.6%. So a nice turnaround in the markets here. We'll have more coming up. This is Bloomberg. Good morning.
There we go. I think this candle can go now. Let's see. That candle on Apple. Wow. Let's go in the video. Pull the market up. Do what you gotta do. See some sales right there. Bro, SMH up $7. I'm looking at Spotlight and QQ. Just look at the AEMA. Look at the AEMA. Apple wick off the 8. I'm telling you, I feel like we can go higher. I'm at 6% negative right now.
24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com, Bloomberg Television, and the Bloomberg Business app. This is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
And I'm John Tucker in the Bloomberg Newsroom with this Bloomberg.
Got some sales on Q, SPY.
Inflation, tariffs, and volatility have some investors turning to gold for stability. Get a free gold and silver information guide and learn how to add metals to your IRA or 401k tax and penalty free.
Could be a higher low.
/guide. That's goldenpressmetals.com/guide. I'll just throw this headline out there. President Trump posting a chart on social media last night, and it included figures in the yet-to-be December employment report. The president is typically briefed on the numbers a day before their publication, but it's verboten to share them with anybody. We did have word this morning that the Supreme Court won't be issuing its tariff ruling today, so that took some of the steam out of the stocks. Maybe we could get a ruling next week with the Supreme Court on tariffs.
The video looks trash.
Vistra is the best performing stock of the S&P 500.
Should have traded SPY QQQ.
14% higher.
9% right now.
You have 10 of the 11 major industry groups in the S&P 500. They are up right now, and with Vistra Utilities right now, they are the
Finger is on the trigger.
And at the bottom of the list right now, the worst performing industry group, the financials. The S&P 500, 28 points higher. That's up 0.4%, 69.50 on the index. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 104 points. Nasdaq 100 up 142. The 2-year yield. Let me do the 10-year right now. The 10-year yield is unchanged, 4.16. The more policy.
Who get any push lower, I'm selling.
That's up a basis point at 350. Now we check the markets for you all day long right here on Bloomberg Radio. I'm John Tucker. That's your Bloomberg Business Flash, Scarlett.
John Tucker.
I see Q's.
Scarlett Fu and Paul Sweeney live here in our Bloomberg Interactive streaming live. Well, the U.S. oil industry executives, they're being summoned to turn Trump's vision into reality, but executives are wary of the scale of work required in Venezuela, where it would confront decades of abandoned rigs, leaky pipelines, and fire ravaged. Subject of Bloomberg Big Take story today on the Bloomberg Terminal and at Bloomberg.com/Big Take. These are our favorite stories, researched and written, data in there. Josh Wingrove joins us, senior White House.
I want to see it back above that level.
He's down in D.C. So, Josh, I guess the oil executives are making their way to Washington D.C. today to the White House.
See a few buyers stepping in. Let's see.
These big energy companies about investing once again in Venezuela.
Well, I think we just would characterize it as the champagne remains corked, right? There's questions as to how many of them want to go in and what guarantees they would want, in particular from the U.S. government. Are those backstops? Are taxpayers going to be on the hook? I mean, all these questions are really swirling in the air now. Trump himself sees this as sort of a gold rush opportunity, right? He has complained forever about the U.S. Leaving Iraq, for instance, without, quote, taking the oil. Pretty clear that that is like a core goal of what he plans to do now with Venezuela. So we will see, but it's just very complicated.
All right, so 11%.
Existing disrepair of that, we call it.
The video's flat, bro. I should have traded SPY QQQ, but I'm done. I can't. I traded 3 times today. I'm done. I'm not even gonna do that. I'm not even gonna do that.
She and I wrote this piece about it with some of our
I guess I just pay attention to what's going on later on in the market.
expansion itself would be complicated. Of course, there are security questions.
But honestly, again, I should have traded SPY or QQQ.
Workers being put at risk. And of course, the day-to-day relationship between the Trump administration and the existing Maduro.
The video was flat, bro. I seen Amazon. I seen.
So all these things are hanging in the air. Trump sees this as just sort of a hemisphere.
I seen Amazon. I seen Tesla.
Roll in of these massive reserves, which really are huge, but the actual production itself is not very huge right now for all these reasons. So getting this thing back up and running is going to take a long time.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Yes, I lost a few dollars today. It happens. It's in the plan. But I'll be back here. I'll be back here Sunday. I'm gonna post an old video. I'm gonna post an old video just because I'm not stopping with this, bro. But I'm gonna post an old video possibly today. I'm gonna find one to post. I recorded it on my phone And yeah, I'm gonna post it because there's some videos I never even posted ever.
There's been some mixed signals on whether that will happen. We just don't know.
But the video just,
Long record,
the video flat, bro.
record of announcing things. with
The video's flat. I should have seen this. I just thought we could have got some continuation
part of those announcements.
off this 10:30 candle.
Anything is on the table. He could
10:30, yeah, 10:30 candle.
speak afterwards. He could post afterwards. You were reading the thing that he,
I just thought we could have went,
stated, which is a big no-no.
but
Of course, for
it's all good. Be back here.
he can post on it.
Next time I trade, straight like that.
Saying